We only live once, but if we do it right, once is enough. What is your dream? Will you achieve your dream in your lifetime? I'm certain that you desire to. I'm sure you hope you will. But will you actually do it? What odds would you give yourself? 1 in 5? 1 in 100? 1 in a million? How can you tell whether your chances are good or whether your dream will always remain exactly that, a dream? And are you willing to put it to test? Most people have a dream. In fact, I've asked hundreds, if not thousands, of people about their dreams. Some willingly describe it with great detail and enthusiasm. Others are reluctant to talk about it. They seem embarrassed to say it out loud. These people have never tested their dream. They don't know if others will laugh at them. They are not sure if they are aiming too high or they are aiming too low. They don't know if their dream is something they can really achieve or they are just destined to fail. Now, what would benefit you and me if we were to reach the highest level of the ladder of success, only to realize that the ladder was leaned against the wrong wall? In an environment where majority of us are of good intentions but they are not intentional, that a good proportion, they want their circumstances to change, but they don't want to change themselves. In this episode of The Sixth Sense, we discuss about 3 types of people according to dreams, according to purpose, according to future orientations. I want to invite you to this journey of self-awareness. I want to invite you to this journey of self-evaluation, of taking stock of your life and looking at it inside and out. Now, let me start by the first category of dreamers, the people we call the non-dreamers. Now, the non-dreamers are people without any purpose in life, people without any plan in life, people without any dream, nothing. No, the non-dreamers are people who will always have time to go into other people's plan. If you are to ask them to take you somewhere for 30 minutes, they will give you an hour. They are the people who come to you uninvited. They are the people who will visit you without any call, without any notification. Now, the non-dreamers believe that success is impossible. So they criticize it. Because they cannot be able to get it, they find or they term it difficult. They believe that success is limited, that it is only meant for some people. If it is leadership, they only believe that leadership is only meant for some people. That if it is education, scaling great heights of education, that this education is only meant for some people. It is not for them. If it is matters of pursuing business, they believe that it is not for them. It is meant for specific people. Now, the non-dreamers swim in the river of acquired failure mentalities, AFM. You know, they believe that if their dad did not drive or own a car, then the best thing they can own is a bicycle. They don't believe in pursuing very great heights of anything. Now, they believe again that success is a determinant of fate. You know, that they have no control over fate. No, there's a very renowned writer called Paulo Freire, a Brazilian. In his book, The Ultimate Human Cannot Be Silenced, he speaks of 3 levels of awareness. And the lowest level of awareness, which I think the non-dreamers are in this category, is what we call the magical awareness. The magical awareness are people who believe that everything is supernatural controlled, that they have no control, so they do nothing. These people are excessively religious. You know, they blame the devil for anything. For failing examination, they blame the devil. For a failed marriage, they blame the devil. You know, they believe that everything is supernaturally controlled. If they meet a cat, well, they'll go home and they don't want to work. These are the lowest level of awareness, and I believe this particular category of non-dreamers fall in this category. In other words, we call them the intra-sensitive levels, the lowest level of awareness. We have the second level of awareness. We call it the naive awareness. The naive awareness, there are people who basically know that they can do something, but they don't do it. They decide not to do it. There are people who know that they can change their families, but they don't put any effort to change their families. There are people who are aware that by default I determine what I can't do. But again, they don't want to do something. There are people with naive awareness. And people with naive awareness, they end up blaming the government, you know. They end up blaming their mothers for lack of their education. They end up blaming Makoha for the education systems, you know. They end up shifting blames from one person to another. No, the lowest level of awareness, I'll call it, I mean the highest level, I'll call it the critical awareness. These are people who believe that by default, they are the determinant of their success. No one else. By default, they determine what they can do and what they can't do. No one else can be able to write their future. The pen is right in their hands. Now, and to our second level of dreamers. Our second level of dreamers are what we call the low dreamers. These are people who are just comfortable with where they are. They don't want to disrupt the status quo. You know, as long as they are eating meat twice a week, and they have 3 pairs of shoes, and again, probably a relative, either a relative or the husband or the wife is driving, then they feel that they are very comfortable. Now, Thomas said that 5% of the people think, 10% of the people think they think, and 85% of the people would rather die than think. Now, the low dreamers, they don't want to engage their mind. They don't want to think. They want to believe that eventually they don't have to work for them to gather anything. Yet, that is a lie. Now, they consider or they take value in existence more than anything. The fact that they are existing makes them comfortable. Let me explain some levels of existence. Now, we have 3 levels of existence, and one level is what we call the survival level within the low dreamers. And survival level are low dreamers who, as long as they are surviving, you know, as long as they have food on the table, as long as they have something to wear, as long as they have somewhere to stay, they feel that they don't need anything else. They consider surviving better than struggling and moving forward. Another level of existence is what we call the success mirage. These are people who deceive themselves that they've made it. Eventually, they have not made it. More likely, these are people who are employed in probably one of the big companies, and they've built a house in their home, and in their area. So they tend to think that they have made it in life. I was reading a book. It's called From 8 to 5, and it pays attention to people who are employed. And this is what the writer says. The writer says he gives several lessons, but what catches my eye at 2 lessons. Number 1, she says that your employer is neither your father nor mother. Therefore, he doesn't have any sympathy or empathy. If he can fire you anytime, he doesn't. He's neither your father nor mother. And number 2, she says that have a fallback plan. What will happen if your job is over? Are you a writer? Probably you can write books. Have skills that you can be able to use even if your job is terminated. Probably you can speak like me. Probably you can have skills of videography, of photography, of doing something to enable you to have a fallback plan. Now, the third level of existence is what we call the significance level of existence. And these are people, as long as they have an audible position, whether in the community or in their workplaces, they feel they are comfortable. These are people who more likely that not are interested with titles more than their future. I don't know if probably you can remember of a prefect in your school, in your high school or in your primary school or even in college, or people who are not performing so well in class, but they were on the front line of punishing students. They were in the front line of each and every time they are rubbing shoulders with their fellow students. These are people who are just focusing on the title more than focusing on their future. Now, people with low dreams, more likely they believe that success is a factor of production. So they each and every time toil, each and every time they work hard, they don't work smart. Forgetting that hard work is linear, is one dimension, and hard work alone does not give success. Success is factors of several ingredients, including discipline, determination, working smart, and several others. It's not just hard work. I want to give an example of people with low dreams, the low dreamers. Now, there was a scientist who did an experiment, and what he did, he took some fleas and put them in a jug, and he put a lid on top of a jug. So the fleas were on the inside, on top is a lid. So the fleas tried their level best to get out of the jug, and what was happening each and every time a flea tries to get out, it goes, hits the lid and goes back to the jug. And this was done for several hours. They are trying their level best until they all decided to quit. And what the scientist did, he took off the lid. Funny enough, there's no single flea that decided to get out. They were conditioned in their mind that they are in a comfort zone, or basically they don't have to struggle because they won't be able to get out. These are low dreamers for you. People who are just comfortable with where they are. The lid has been removed, but they don't want to try the outside world. They don't want to go beyond their levels of their potential levels. They just want to stay within some averages. They just settle for the average. That is low dreamers. Let me go to the final level. The final type of dreamers. And these are vague dreamers. Now, vague dreamers are people who are not specific of what they want. These are people who don't know what they want in life. As a matter of fact, they keep on shifting career goals, from medical fields to pursuing engineering, from engineering to going to accountancy, from accountancy to trying marketing. You know, these are not people, they are never specific. If it is business, they go with the booming trend, not the passion trend. If they are told that probably what is selling nowadays is selling pharmaceuticals, they go and try to sell medicine. If they are told that what is selling nowadays is car hire, they go and try to do car hire. They are never specific. You know, they don't know their passion. Try something out of a passion. Let me tell you, people do not buy average. You can be a jack of so many trades, but a master of none. But try as much as possible to be specific, to have one thing that you can do right, not so many things that you can do in an average. People don't buy average. People don't buy partial best. You know, I don't know. You don't go to a restaurant and say that call me the waiter who is average. You know, you don't want the best waiter. You want the waiter who will mess up your bill, the waiter who will bring the wrong drinks if you request. No, you say you want the best. Maybe personally, I cannot be the best guitarist. However much I try, even if I was to go to a guitar school and ask them to give me, in the 3 years I learn how to play a guitar, probably I'll know how to play a guitar, but I'll not be the best guitarist. People will not pay to come and see me play a guitar. You know, more likely than not, maybe people will even pay me not to play the guitar, right? People don't pay for average. People want the best. These are people with vague dream. They don't know what they want. Now, I want to go forward and give attributes of the best dreamers. The people who make it in life. The people who bring differences in their community. The good dreamers. Now, for you to be a good dreamer, I'll give you 4 things. I don't know which level which category you fall in, but you must desire to be better. Number 1, for you to be a good dreamer, you have to decide to be specific. You have to know what you want. Stop winning. You can be you can be a jack of all trades and a master of none. You know, you have to decide to cut one tree until it falls. Not to hope into so many trees, but each and every time you are hoping into many trees, at the end of the day you are full of blisters, but no single tree has fallen. You have to master your passion. What is it that you are best in? What is it that you don't struggle doing? That is what you should follow. Decide to be specific in what you want. Number 2, don't quit. Stay the course. At all times, life is a bit difficult, but you have to stay on your course. Don't quit. Don't be discouraged by people. Don't be discouraged by the outer world. I like what one writer said, that it is the size of your fight inside you, not the size of how big you are. Let me give you a story of a dog. A dog goes into a new homestead. It's a very new dog in that neighborhood. And the first day, it decides to go and try to know what other neighborhoods look like. So it went across the fence, and it's too bad because immediately it went across the fence, it made 2 very big dogs. And eventually these big dogs teared this small dog in a mighty way. It ripped off its ears, it beat it everywhere. And the small dog went back to its place, you know, healing wounds. And the next day, surprisingly, the small dog went again across the fence, met the 2 dogs, and again, mercilessly, The dogs worked on the small dog mercilessly. Again, the small dog went back to its kettle. And the third day, something funny happened. The small dog went across the fence. And the two big dogs, on seeing this small dog, really wondered, what is happening to this dog? We've been fighting him for 2 days. I mean, what is up to him? And they fled, they ran away. Now, in life, it is not the size of the dog in the fight that matters. Rather, it is the size of the fight inside the dog. No, the size of your fight has to be so big. You don't have to quit for small issues. If it's your passion, try as much as possible. Try today, try tomorrow, try the next day, and eventually you shall get it. Number 3, be an incurable learner. Always learn something each and every day, each and every month, each and every year. Take stock of your learning. Someone said that leaders read and readers lead. At all time, you have to know how to improve yourself. So many people want to improve their circumstances, but they don't want to improve themselves. So many people are of good intentions, but they are not intentional. So you have to decide at all given points to be an incurable learner. Be a persistent learner at all given times. And finally, be bold. Be bold at all times. Be courageous, because courage can take you to where to where skill cannot take you. Sometimes you have to fake even the courage. Be courageous. A story is told of a ship together with the captain and soldiers. And they went to fight and they crossed the river. And when they went to the other side, they realized one thing, that where they were going to fight, these people had the most sophisticated, the most advanced weapons. And they knew they cannot survive. They knew this one is a no deal. More likely than not, we shall all perish. And this is what the captain said, having realized that their enemies were well equipped. No, he told the other soldiers, burn the boats. Burn the boats. In simple terms, you burn the boats, we are not going back. We must fight. And the followers really were shocked. Why should we burn the boats? Yet we are knowing that this battle we are losing. No, listen. Sometimes you have to crush your possibilities of thinking otherwise. You have to be bold. Crush any possibility of going backwards. Crush any possibility of deciding for failure. What he was basically telling them is we have no other alternative. We must win this particular war. And that is what we wanted to discuss today. The types of dreamers. I don't know which type you are, but it's my wish that you become a good dreamer. That you become bold in whatever you do. That you become an incurable learner. Again, you decide on one thing and you decide to do it so well. With those very long remarks, I still invite you to share this message so that it reaches so many people. I want to give a shout out to one of us, Bannister, Louise, I think all the way from Kahawa. You've been really pushing this content and we are so glad of you. Guys, please subscribe to this channel. Let this information reach as many people as possible. We need to make the best dreamers out of you. I'll finalize it by saying that you are meant for greatness. And if someone is telling you otherwise, he's ignorant of some fact.